Don't know what's wrong with my camera today. It looks weird, but I could keep playing with it, but eventually it won't get the work done. So I decided to just share with you anyway. And hopefully this week you'll get to see me a lot better next week. Anyway, why am I doing this? I want to share as much as I can. I've been doing it for, over 45 years as a pastor and 50 years as a Christian. Uh, hmm, what pushes us? I mean, I'm not the only one. I mean, many pastors, many uh, evangelists, and many just people who everyday life are just sharing this message. And some of them, wow, putting their lives in danger. Robbie Dawkins is a missionary right now, and he's in somewhere in Afghanistan. We don't know where because his life is in danger. And he went there after the Taliban took over. Okay. And why would somebody do that? Well, what? I mean, you got the Taliban have their beliefs and you have your beliefs. And what's the big deal? I mean, religion's religion, right? Why do people preach the gospel? Not only that, he's risking his life. If he ever gets caught, he could be killed. And not only that, let me tell you something else that's special. He says he's spoken to men and women in Afghanistan, and they don't want to leave. Even though it's against the law to be Christian, even though the Taliban are going from door to door, knocking on doors, if they find Christians, they're killing some, and they are abusing them. And these people want to stay. And one of the reasons they want to stay is they want to share with these people, the Taliban, what they believe. Are they out of their minds? Am I? It's really like we had this man go back. He's in the States. He was safe. Taliban takes over. He goes back. He meets people. And what they're saying, no, we don't want to leave. I mean, there are ways for them to leave, but they're not going to leave because what they have to say is so important. What is this? Could it be when Jesus said in John 14:6, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father but by me. And at the end of everything is that the most important is that we come to the Father. And the Father has this plan too. He says, I have prepared a place for you, but I'd like my will to be done and my kingdom to be done on earth. I'd like so much influence that I am changing the very atmosphere you're living in your town, in your city, in your country. I want to change Afghanistan to where women no longer have fear for their lives and being abused. I want to change Iran. And from what we're hearing, again, from Robbie and other missionaries, there's a strong Christian church in Iran that's growing. And they are teaching women about their place in God. And we know that in God, women are incredible across centuries. We have, Ruth, and we have even, oh man, Rahab. And even in the Bible, Rahab the harlot. So that's what she was. And she's in the lineage of Christ. And there are just so many heroes. Deborah. And Deborah's just there one day. And no, God doesn't apologize. He never says, here's the reason she's here. No, she's here. And she's the highest political office. She's a judge. And she's the highest spiritual office. She's a prophetess. And God never says, why did I choose a woman? He chose a woman because she's the best person for the job. I guess within Christ, they've always found their way. They always were the first ones to go. They were there at the when the stone was rolled away, the first one to see it. Like, it was such a beautiful place. We have teachers in the New Testament, or women and deaconesses, and in Iran, they're learning this. It was just two people. Something lately I was listening to Robin Bullock. No, actually reading, my wife was reading a book by Robin Bullock, and he said that when God created Adam and Eve, he called them man. Not him man and her. He called them man. They were equals. This is not where I want to go today, but this is within the Christ-given truth. I am the truth. I am the truth. There's no battle in me. There's no contention. There's no like battle of sexes, because each one is so important to everything I'm doing. We need to know these truths, and these truths make some people nervous. The truth does, to the point they're willing to kill. Why do people want to live in Afghanistan and preach Christ? Why do the Afghanis want to kill them? Not Afghanis like Taliban. Like, after all, it's just a myth, right? I mean, it's a fairy tale. And you know fairy tales. I mean, you know the way we persecute people, talk about Little Red Riding Hood and Cinderella and, you know, the three bears. Man, get them. If it's just a fairy tale. Paul's preaching, and he talks about the Corinthians, and he says, since the wisdom of God, 1 Corinthians, first chapter, verse 21. For since in the wisdom of God, the world by its wisdom did not know God, God was pleased to save those who believe by the foolishness of preaching. For Jews demand miracles, miracle signs, and Greeks ask for wisdom. But we preach Christ crucified, a stumbling block. One, I like to translate that says, a scandal for the Jews. And foolishness, Christ crucified, the message of the cross, foolishness to the Greeks. What they are covering here is not just Jews and Greeks, but they're covering the people of the world. We have two representations going on here. We have the religious and we have the intellectual. And we have the religious are looking at this and say, what? This person dies and you don't have to get better. You don't have to make yourself better. You don't have to become, you don't have to. He does it. I am the way. What do you mean you are? No, show us the way. Let us do this stuff. And one day we'll be good enough. And Christ doesn't say that. He says, you'll never be good enough. But through me, I will bring you to the place you need to be. That's what the gospel is. And it's scandalous. It's a stumbling block to religious, because you can never be proud. There's no pride in it. There's just grace. If I'm here today and I'm preaching Christ, it's by grace. It's by grace. Like, I didn't do anything except accept what he was telling me. Accept the cross, that he died in my place. I am the way. And my way goes through the cross. And he took all my sins on him. That's his way. That's the way. And he said, come on in. And I'll just show you. I'll give you a little sign. I'm going to tear a curtain. The curtain was so thick. It was like feet thick. And he's going to tear it from top to bottom, just to show you that anybody could enter. It's a thing that it was hanging in the temple, and it tore at the moment Christ died, saying, here's the way. I'm the truth. I'm the life. I'm the life. I'm life. I'm life. This is what you're looking for. Scandalous. Too easy. And of course, the intellectuals. Oh my God. You believe in this, invisible man in the sky. You are so, God. Yes. Listen, I mean, everybody knows there was an explosion of nothing and it became something. And something was so small and minuscule that you could hardly see it with a microscope. And from there came the universe. Now that's logic. Okay? Like there was an explosion of nothing and it became something. Now I believe there was a big bang. It's called creation. But anyway, it came from something. Because when there's nothing to explode. And that's created the universe. You see, I can believe that more. I can believe that this whole, like, there's just enough gravity not to crush us or that we're floating off into space dying. I can believe that there's, carbon monoxide that's coming out when we breathe out carbon monoxide and plants are breathing out oxygen, that this balance works. We're not too close to the sun, that we're going to burn, or too far, that we're going to freeze. And with all that, there's an ozone layer over us because the sun would kill us if we didn't have it. But that's an accident. And it's just so much goes on in this universe that it's just so logical, so put together. But to the intellectuals, it's a scandal to believe in God. Oh, God, you people. Oh, you make me laugh. Scandalous. No, not scandalous. It's foolishness. It's foolishness. Yes. Not really. But the reason we fight against this is because there are forces in the world also that are invisible, that they don't see. As God works, there's an enemy that works too. And he influences. He'll let you be religious as long as you don't find God. And if your religion's and so you become a male-dominated religion, like what the Afghan, like the Taliban believe, and they abuse women. It's in the name of God. So it goes well. And this has not been the only time. I mean, people have done the same thing in the name of Jehovah, and but still, religion, as long as you don't find Jesus. Because in Jesus, we find love. We find acceptance. We find forgiveness. It's really weird when he asks, like, how many times should I forgive my brother? Like, 7 times? Like, I give him 7 chances? He said, no, 70 times 7. And then the guy went like, oh, God, now I got to do math. That's really bad. Anyway, this scandal, this foolishness changed the world. It keeps people in Afghanistan to talk about this because they need it. There are people in Afghanistan praying that the Taliban come to Christ. That's how important what we're saying. If you don't know Christ today, and the reason I'm talking to you is because I want you to know this thing. He says, I come to give you life and life in abundance, more than what the world can give. If you want to receive it, it's so scandalous how easy it is. You just confess. We all have sinned. All of us. I've sinned, you've sinned, we've all sinned. And you say after me, Lord, I admit that I've sinned against you. I accept that you died for me on the cross, for me. And that because of this, you're willing to forgive. Forgive my sins, Lord. Become the Lord of my life. Amen. Isn't that scandalous? It's that easy if you're sincere and you just did it. He's going to do it. He's done it. If you've done it, he's done it. I'm just going to pray for you now. Holy Spirit, I ask you to seal for my brother and my sister. I just sense in my heart something important, that somebody, is it too late for you? It's not. This is what God's telling you. It's not too late. In fact, you've let go. Come on back. Same thing for you. God's got a fatted calf. They're going to have a party because you're coming back to him. If you're a Christian today, you got to realize how important this message is. He says, I'm going to make you witnesses to all the earth. Isn't that wild? And you have the message of life. So go out. This is what happened when the Paul in Acts 8, we see it's the beginning of his persecution, and I don't know the beginning, but it's going on. And the Christians were dispersed and they went everywhere preaching the gospel. And there's one translate, I'm not sure, I couldn't really find this word, but somebody said this a long time. They went everywhere gossiping the gospel. So it was just like this thing that, and they couldn't keep it quiet. Just, you have so much, it's so important. The message of the cross, foolishness to those who are intellectual, but real. And scandalous to the religious because it accepts everyone. You have it in you. So go out and just gossip about Christ. If you want to get hold of me, you see my email, you've got questions, you'd like to talk, if you've accepted Christ for the first time and you don't know what to do now, let us know. We'll help you out with that. Just send it to Pastor Don, my email address. The reason we have Pastor Don is because it's going to distinguish you from all the other emails I receive. And every Saturday night at 7 o'clock, we have a meeting in French on Zoom. That's where we meet as a church, the Jubilee. And you'd be welcome if you're going to understand French. If we have enough English interest, well, one day maybe we'll do an English Zoom meeting. But you're welcome. So thanks for listening, and have a blessed week. Bye-bye.
Quand on cherche sincèrement, il y a des réponses qui s'offrent à nous.
Comment peut-on concevoir, accepter que toutes les autres...
OK. Est-ce que quelqu'un d'autre a une réponse?
Écoute, non plus, je ne suis pas 100% avec ça.
C'est la réponse.
Qu'est-ce que vous pensez?
J'avais pas de réponse.
As-tu d'autres idées? J'ai une réponse. On t'invite à rejoindre. Et si tu as des questions, tu peux les poser. Mais Dieu t'aime. Rappelle-toi, ça, c'est la conclusion qu'on a. Et il veut rencontrer tes besoins.
Puis la parole nous dit que Dieu ne rejette pas un cœur brisé puis un esprit contrit.
Sois le bienvenu.